Every year, Sony closes off the first day of E3 with the longest show of the day. They usually run for about 2 hours, and for me, it's the show that I pay attention to the most. I own PS2s, I own PSPs, I own PS3s, and I own a PS4. PlayStation has been where I do the majority of my gaming, pretty much my entire life, so it's the show that has the most impact on me personally. So, obviously, I wanted to see what Sony was going to do with the PS4, and I was really curious because Microsoft started the day off really strong. The thing is, they didn't have that big game to knock it out of the park, so the door had been left open for Sony to do that themselves. Now, they started off incredibly well with 60 minutes of games, and some really big games too. People, myself included, were taking to Twitter talking about how, if this is what Sony has planned for the first hour of their show, what are they gonna do in the back half? What are they gonna do in the last hour? Unfortunately, that's where they stumbled. They had this little 30-minute gap where they brought out the new CEO, Sean Layden, who just does not have the charisma of Jack Tretton. At least he didn't in this instance. He was really boring, and even though the stuff he was talking about I was interested in, PlayStation Now, Project Morpheus, it could have been wrapped up so much faster and was just delivered in an incredibly dull way. Then there was the non-gaming stuff like that Powers TV show. That segment was just dreadful. Dreadful. That was something I would have expected from Microsoft or Ubisoft last year, not from Sony, the guys who are for the gamers in their own words. So I was really disappointed with that. Thankfully for them, the games they showed off in the first hour and then at the end of the conference did a lot to sway my favor back towards them. LittleBigPlanet 3 was a big surprise. I didn't expect that game to be there. I knew it was in development. It had been rumored to be being worked on at Sumo Digital for years. Well, not years, but for a while now. And I didn't expect it to show up at E3. I figured maybe Gamescom. But there it was. They finished up whatever demo they were doing. I can't remember what it was. But then it was just LittleBigPlanet 3 on the screen. And while I'm not a huge fan of the series myself, I know there are a lot of people who are. So I'm very excited for them. The big one for me was Bloodborne. Bloodborne is sort of a spiritual successor to Demon's Souls, which is a game I've owned for a long time, but only recently just got into it and figured out how all the systems work and got absolutely addicted to it, and it's now easily one of my favorite games of all time. So seeing, this gothic, Victorian-esque era, really horror vibe sort of game with the same kind of gameplay, except a little more sped up, a little more focused on aggressive play rather than the passive style of Demon's Souls. That gets me in the right spot because I love horror. I loved Demon's Souls, and Miyazaki is directing again, the guy that directed Demon's Souls and Dark Souls, but not Dark Souls 2, which a lot of people kind of think is part of why that game isn't as held with as high regard in the core community or the hardcore community. But I'm really excited for that game. Then, of course, Naughty Dog came out, showed The Last of Us Remastered on PS4. That's going to be really awesome for people who didn't play it on PS3. And then Uncharted 4. Naughty Dog is claiming that trailer is from a level in the game and runs in real time at 1080p and 60 frames per second on a single PS4. I'd actually be speechless if they pull it off. It's Naughty Dog, so I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. I think they may actually be able to do it. But man, the level of detail in just, it blows my mind. Like, people talked about how the PS4 and the Xbox One are so underpowered compared to even like top-end PCs today, but if developers are able to pump this kind of stuff out for the next bunch of years, that's fine with me. It really is, because that looks phenomenal. Hopefully we'll get to see some gameplay of that before the end of the year. It's obviously not going to be released until the end of 2015 at the earliest because of all the internal issues, I guess, going at Naughty Dog. But other than that, the only knock I guess I have against their conference, since I've talked about that 30-minute gap that was terrible, was they showed so little of the Order 1886. I know it was playable on the show floor, but it wasn't really in their conference. They had like a 2-minute trailer, and that was it. And it showed some cool new stuff. It showed some horror vibes, and it showed the Lycans. But we really still don't know. The public doesn't really know what's going on with that game yet. So I'm a little upset that wasn't featured more. Overall, the conference was, like everything else this year, rather safe. They didn't have anything to blow people away, but the core guys like myself are going to be very happy about Bloodborne. There was no major surprises, but I saw mostly what I wanted to see. I wanted to see Project Beast, or as we now know it's called, Bloodborne. And like I said, it looks phenomenal. So that is why I am giving Sony a B+. I'm giving them an edge over Microsoft because while Microsoft had a very well-paced show, there was nothing from that conference that stuck with me and maybe think I need an Xbox One. Sony, I've watched the Bloodborne trailer I don't even know how many times, and I am so excited for that. I went out and pre-ordered it a day after, so I'm very, very excited for that game, and I'm giving them the edge based on that alone, on Bloodborne alone. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me on that, but that is my thoughts on the Sony conference, and if you've watched all 4 videos, my thoughts on E3 2014 as a whole, that first day. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Comment, well I already said comment, but like and subscribe and share the video around if you enjoyed it. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you guys next time.